Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. Welcome to Real Topics, a show in which I will be going over 5 topics of the week of interest in film. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first topic is that Leda Kalogridis is rumored to be penning the script of a Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars film, according to BuzzFeed. So I'm just going to kind of react to this news. There's been a lot of talk about a potential Knights of the Old Republic film for a while now. It's been pretty high on the list of what fans want. Now, that being said, there have been a lot of rumors that this is happening. Even Kathleen Kennedy kind of acknowledged that they would be delving into this time period of Star Wars lore, but I'm not sure I buy this rumor. Like I said, there's been a ton of rumors. This is also BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed is kind of garbage. So while I do think that a Knights of the Old Republic film will happen eventually, I'm not sure if this rumor's true. Also, Kalogridis' filmography isn't very good. She did Alita Battle Angel, she did Shutter Island, but she also did Terminator Genesis and Alexander the Great movie, I think. So she's got some stinkers on there. So I'm kind of hoping this isn't true. As for what a potential movie from that time period would look like, they could go the route of straight up just taking the plot from the video game and putting it in movie form. On the surface, I think that's what I would want because it was an amazing story. But when I think about it more, I don't think that's what they should do, because a lot of the experience of that game was the choices that you get to make, and how your character can go good or go bad or make one little decision that changes the entire story. There's a lot of choice in that game, and I think that's really what makes the game for me. It wasn't the gameplay, it was the characters and the choices that you make and how the choices affect the characters. And I don't think that you can really capture that essence in a film. So I think that the wiser route would be to just set a Star Wars story during the Old Republic and kind of get to build your own universe, if you will, of that time period. You get to set the history, you get to kind of explore a new sandbox, and I think that would be an interesting approach to a new Star Wars movie. I think it would be fresh, and it would give you a lot of creativity. You wouldn't have to worry about putting characters that we know and love in there, because you would just be resetting it. You'd be starting a new time, and I'm looking forward to that if it ever happens. But I don't think that this rumor is true. But like I said, I believe we will get an Old Republic film eventually. Moving on to our next topic, the Terminator Dark Fate trailer released today, or as of this recording, it was May 23rd. So I watched it, and I'm not the biggest Terminator fan. I've seen the first 2. I think I've seen the third one a long time ago, and I saw the one that came out, I think in 2007 with Christian Bale. And like I said, not the biggest fan of Terminator, but I'm down to watch it. I enjoyed the first 2 quite a bit, and this one seems to be sort of like the Halloween movie that came out last year, where you only had to see the first 1 or 2 to understand it. So that's cool, because the Terminator franchise was getting a little convoluted and going downhill. But if they have a soft reset like this, and it's a quality movie, that'll be good for the franchise. And the trailer looks pretty good. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger back, which is always good. You have Sarah Connor back, the original actress who plays Sarah Connor. That'll be cool as well. And there's not much in the way of plot. It seems that it's very similar to the original Terminators, where they're trying to get a woman to safety so that she can, I guess, do something. It's never really specifically stated. But the action looks good. They've got a new Terminator. He seems kind of similar to the one from Terminator 2 in that he can kind of like melt his body and like shape shift it. And having Arnold back is nice. He looks to be in good shape, and he looks good for his age, and he's a real cool guy. I like Arnold a lot, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. I hope this film is good. James Cameron's producing it, and they have the director of the original Deadpool, so I think that this film could be promising, and I hope it turns out well. So Game of Thrones ended after 8 seasons last week, and I want to kind of give my thoughts on the finale and the last season as a whole. And I'll start with the overall season. I definitely think that the criticism of it being rushed and a dip in quality are valid. I think it's been heading this way for a while now. I noticed it in season 7. I know other people have noticed it, saying that the writing's been kind of down since season 5. But I think it was especially noticeable during season 7, and even more so in this season. You know, D&D had a chance to have 10 episodes. They declined that, and they said we can do it in 6. They even had a chance to have 10 seasons, but they said no, we want to do it in 7, so they kind of compromised to having 8 seasons with, I think, 7 episodes for season 7 and then 6 for season 8. So the speculation is that they wanted to finish it quickly so that they can move on to Star Wars. And I understand that, but I think that at a certain point you have to kind of step aside and understand that what you've created is bigger than yourselves. Game of Thrones is probably the most massive television show of all time. I've never seen a show have such an impact on our culture as this show has. So what D&D kind of did was kind of have an ego trip. If they had let someone else finish the show and done their due diligence on the show, it would have been better. And then fans would be happy. I mean, this is what fans deserve. This is what the actors deserve. This is what everyone who works on the show deserves. Instead, it feels like they kind of rushed it. And I don't have a particular problem with the plot points. I think that the plot makes sense. It just felt rushed and unearned. And it really bothers me because this show could have gone down as one of the greatest shows in all time. It might still, but the ending is really sour. Really sour. Just so rushed. And it's just evident with all the time skipping and the characters acting out of character. And yeah, it's kind of it's a real bummer. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want this to end up being a Game of Thrones season 8 criticism video. But there are things that I liked, but predominantly it was not great. It was tough to watch. I especially didn't like the Long Night episode. That was probably my least favorite episode of the season. I didn't dislike the season finale as much as a lot of people did. I think that seeing as they rushed the last season overall, I think the ending did do a good job tying up the loose ends and whatnot and leaving us somewhat satisfied. It could have been worse. That's all I'm saying. It could have been a lot worse. I mean, look, the ending isn't awful, and I think it's consistent with George R.R. Martin's vision. I just feel like he gave them an outline of what he was intending to get to in his story, and they kind of just hit on all the major plot points, but didn't bother with the character development, didn't bother with earning those plot points. So that's my real issue with the last season of Game of Thrones. It's not the plot. It's just they didn't take the time to make things make complete sense. Daenerys' flip, I think, while I love her ultimate transition into the Mad Queen, if you will, I just don't feel it was earned. I think we could have had another season or 2 of build up toward that, and it would have been much more powerful. So, with that being said, I guess we'll just have to wait and see for the spin-offs, and then D&D will move on to Star Wars, and we gotta hope that they don't phone it in for Star Wars like they did for the last season. This is I don't want to take away from the actors. The actors did a great job. I just think that the writing suffered. The cinematography was great, directing was great, effects were great. It's really just the writing, and this is a popular opinion. You're not going to hear anything new from me. I am very much in line with the overall criticism of the show, and I just hope that this doesn't seep into Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Star Wars has suffered enough the last few years, so I hope that D&D pull it together and give us a great Star Wars movie or trilogy. I think they have a trilogy. Hope they give us a great trilogy. So just a couple days ago, Once Upon a Time in a Hollywood trailer came out, and it looks pretty good. It looks like a lot of fun. Apart from having an incredible cast, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, Dakota Fanning, Al Pacino, Luke Perry, Damian Lewis, Timothy Olyphant, Tim Roth, and that's just to name a few. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what Quentin Tarantino can do with all these actors, the story that he can weave, the dialogue that he's so renowned for. It should be very interesting. I know it got a great reception at Cannes when it just premiered there a couple days ago. So I'll definitely be in the theaters to check this out. Not sure exactly what it's about. I think from the trailer, all that we can glean is that Leonardo DiCaprio is playing kind of a washed-up actor whose best days are behind him, while Brad Pitt seems to be playing an ascending stuntman who wants to get into more so of actual acting, and Margot Robbie seems to be trying to make it big in the film. So it's going to be very, very Hollywood film, if you will. A lot of people trying to do things, some people trying to rise in the world, some people trying to stay on top, and then you've got some characters like Bruce Lee mixed up in it, and you have Charlie Manson mixed up in it. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be weird, but weird is good when you're talking about movies. And the last item on the list is the Toy Story 4 trailer that just dropped a couple days ago. It looks clean. The animation looks great. You've got all these iconic characters back again for the fourth time. But I have an unpopular opinion. I don't know that this film is necessary. I thought that Toy Story 3 really wrapped up the narrative, put it back in a full circle kind of way. You know, the toys have a new owner after Andy goes away to college. And it was just kind of a beautiful sentiment about how, you know, the kids who were young when Toy Story 1 came out were now going to college when Toy Story 3 came out. It was a nice circle of life kind of thing. And I thought it was just a great way to tie it up. The ending was great. It left the toys in a good place. And I was surprised when I heard that Toy Story 4 was coming out. And I definitely don't think it's necessary. I just hope that when all is said and done, we don't look at this film and wonder what the point was. I hope it leaves it in a better place than Toy Story 3 did somehow. But again, Toy Story 3 wrapped it up perfectly for me. And that, as well as Pixar's they don't have the greatest track record with sequels. I mean, I would say Toy Story 2 and 3 are the exceptions, but I did not really like Finding Dory that much. I mean, it was okay. And same thing with Incredibles 2. They were just, I guess, slightly above average films. They could not hold a candle to the originals. But this is Toy Story, and they've had great success with sequels in the past for this franchise. And I'll definitely go see this film. I just don't know what else they can do to leave these characters in a more satisfying place. They could have ended it on Toy Story 3, and I think everyone would have been fine with it. Even if you love the fact that there's a fourth movie, I think you have to acknowledge that Toy Story 3 very much seemed to be the end of the trilogy. And then they add, well, obviously the end of the trilogy, and then they add a fourth one. And it just seems vestigial, but I'll see it in theaters when it comes out, and I hope I'll love it. You know, it's been a while since a Pixar film has really made me fall in love with it. I think the last two that I loved were Up and WALL-E, so it's been a while. It's been almost a decade. Maybe more than a decade. I don't know. I'm losing track of time. When did WALL-E come out? Let's see. WALL-E release date. It's been over a decade. Up came out in 2009, WALL-E came out in 2008. It's been about 10 years since I've been blown away by a Pixar film. Doesn't feel like it, but it is what it is, folks. So, with that being said, we've covered all our topics. Let me know how you liked this new thing. I've been trying to try a lot of new things on this channel. I hope you liked it. I'll try to do this once a week. There's a lot of film topics that come out, so I'll definitely try to cover as much as I can. I hope you guys are having a great day, night, morning, wherever you are. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to make you do anything. And I will see you in the future. Bye!